Hello, good morning. You're live on AgriRiches TV, and today is the first episode of our news review segment this year. And we are so much grateful that you've been with us throughout last year. And this year, as well, we are going to be reviewing the major top stories when it comes to news in agriculture. But today, we are going to preview 2024 agriculture and look at what is going to happen. So, we are going to forecast 2024 agriculture. So, today, the topic is preview of 2024 agriculture or 2024 agriculture preview. My name is Professor Pokudogbe, and this news review segment is proudly sponsored by Tias Group and KAIST. Tias is offering investors with 80% financial support to own an agro-processing factory. So if you want to own an agro-processing factory, call Tias today on 020-475-8888. So today I have with me Nana Ama Ofura Entry. She is an agricultural journalist. I'll be speaking with her to discuss what the 2024 year has for us in agriculture. Stay tuned. We'll be right back from this short commercial break.
Welcome to the Tias office. Come on in and let's embark on an exciting journey together. We are excited to develop the West African sub-region's agricultural sector with three key amazing services: the financial support, technical support, and offtake support. Join us as we showcase our diverse teams, share our values of network, and give you a sneak peek into the exciting projects we are working on.
Alright, so welcome back from a short break. We are proudly sponsored by Tias Group and also KAIST. KAIST is offering agribusinesses with the platform to put their products on an app that connects the Chinese or the Asian continent to the African continent. So if you have an agribusiness product and you want to export them or trade with an Asian country, you can download the KAIST app on Google Play Store or the App Store. So Nanama is here. Nanama, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
How was your Christmas holidays?
It was good. I spent time with family, and time with family is always the best. So
Okay.
yes, I'm back with full
Vim. All right.
Exactly.
And I hope it's never too late to wish you a happy new year.
Oh no,
We are still in
it's
January,
not.
so it's
It's
never too
not.
late to wish you a happy new year.
There's many happy returns, and thank you so much for wishing me. I'll take this opportunity to also wish our viewers a happy new year. I hope this new year gives us more strength, good health, long life, more money, and all the good
That's the most
things.
important one.
Exactly.
And then agriculture, we wish agriculture well as well.
Yes, our farmers, you guys, kudos to
they are
you.
very tremendous.
More grease to your elbow this year, and we thank you so much for helping our survival. They are the main reason we are alive. They provide us with good quality food.
Yeah, sure.
So we wish them all the best as
Sure.
well.
All right, so we want to project, we want to forecast agriculture in the year 2024. We know 2023 has been kind of, interesting. There have been some new developments for the Plans for Food and Jobs initiative, for example. But along the line, we saw the dam spillage, where farmers actually lost their livelihoods, lost their farms, and it was a big blow for us. Well, so we are advancing in 2024. A lot has happened in 2023. We are putting that back. Now I want to project into the future, 2024. So now let's start. 2024, what are you expecting to see in agriculture?
In 2024, there are lots of things I'm expecting in the sector. I'm looking forward to the government rolling in the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2. I believe they have revised the phase one, the Agricultural Minister Honorable Barney Champo himself mentioned certain things and mentioned that they have revised it and noticed certain things that needs to be changed to make the phase two a success. So I'm hoping with them as well that they are able to do that successfully. Also, he mentioned that by 2028 Ghana would be food self-sufficient, meaning would be able to grow and eat our own food and not import as much as we do. And Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister, also mentioned that when he went for the AgriFest, which was the farmers' week celebration, that in 2024, he said in 2024, we would be reaching food self-sufficiency. So
let's see
yes,
that.
I'm also hoping that happens. And currently, the agricultural market in Ghana is estimated to reach $3.4 billion in 2024. Yes, that's what Modo Intelligence, a statistic company, has forecasted. So I'm hoping to also see that happen. Yeah, so there are lots of things. You know, we are also the second largest exporter of cocoa.
Yeah,
I'm also hoping more.
If we would maintain and if we become the first.
Exactly, take back our position. Yes.
All right, so a bit mentioned that the finance minister was saying that we'll be food sufficient.
Yeah.
You know, we see budgets being read, and we see that these budgets don't favor agriculture that much. We see a low budget for agriculture. What do you want to say this year? Well,
this year, fortunately for us, after that statement, he has allocated $1 billion to agriculture in the 2024 budget. He presented, yes. And they are expecting to get more funds from the development bank. So for agriculture, but there was some disparity where farmers were saying that money allocated didn't really come through. But then hopefully, I'm hoping that with this $1 billion allocation, the sector would improve. Many of the issues in the sector will be resolved. And you know, with the bonds, government seized from our old people to create the DDEP to sort of regulate our debt and all that. Also allocated some money to the agricultural sector, to banks, to be able to finance the agricultural sector. But then we usually see the agricultural sector suffer when it comes to finance, despite the government allocating funds to
that.
Development banks.
The government can actually do all.
Exactly.
We need to strengthen this agricultural banks and all that. And there are other banks that are also doing agricultural financing.
Exactly. There are even companies like Tias Group, yes, who give financial assistance to farmers and people who want to create agro-processing factories. Yeah. So I believe that brings me back to something. In 2024, I'm hoping that the government partners more with private institutions like TIAS, among others, and foreign investors to push money into the sector, because finance is one of the main issues.
One of the main critical. Yeah. Without finance, we can push the agriculture sector forward.
Exactly.
I mean, when you go to most farms in Ghana, for example, now, they are not tapping or they're not benefiting much from irrigation. All right. We have some are benefiting from irrigation, especially the rice farms. But there are some farmers who are actually complaining that now the climate is changing. We don't have the water to feed so some depend on rainfed. They actually have to store some water and then feed their crops with that. Now, this year, we don't know how the weather is going to be. I mean, the year is very young. We don't know how the weather is going to be. With respect to we storing water to feed our crops and all that, do you think the rainfed will still be, how would I put it? Do you think the rainfed will still be appropriate, or we should also divert into other fields as well?
We are in 2024. We are in the 21st century where technology is advancing. I think we are long past settling for the rain and hoping for the rain to come. As you mentioned, the weather is changing. Usually in January we experience Harmattan, but we are it's now coming in February. What's today's date? Today is 29th January, and that's when we
it's
are
becoming more severe.
Exactly. So our farmers can't depend
predict
anymore on
the
the
weather.
weather patterns or how their crops turn and which wind it blows.
Yeah.
We need to move forward. Other countries are using drones and all that, and you also mentioned the irrigation schemes. That's why we need more money in the agriculture sector. With this 1 billion allocation and more to come through development banks, I think we should look at that, because climate crisis is causing massive issues in agriculture.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, that we are the second largest producer of
Cocoa.
You know, 6 days ago it was reported that we've shot cocoa beans.
Yeah,
Did you know that? Yes, we've shot cocoa beans, and as a result, cocoa processing factories are halting production. So how do
that would actually run down the economy.
Exactly.
in the long run.
Olam manufacturers and other cocoa processing factories have halted on production because almost short cocoa beans.
Yeah.
So how do we assume our first position as the largest producer in the world or in Africa if this is what is happening? Can you imagine? So with that, I think irrigation is the way to go, and if we push more money and we partner with foreign investors, we'll be able to create more irrigation schemes and even come up with better technological advancements like the drone irrigation and
irrigation
yes, to help.
We'll come back to irrigation, but let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll touch on technology in agriculture.
Welcome to the TIAS office. Come on in and let's embark on an exciting journey together. We're excited to develop the West African Sub-Regions agriculture sector with 3 key amazing services: the financial support, technical support, and offtake support. Join us as we showcase our diverse teams, share our values of network, and give you a sneak peek into the exciting projects we are working on.
Alright, so welcome back and thanks for staying with us on the news review segment on AgroRiches TV. My name is Prince Bokudugwe and I'm here with Nana Mauforiwa Entry, and today we are previewing agriculture in 2024. We want to know what we should expect in agriculture this year. So we are kind of forecasting this year when it comes to agriculture, and we've touched on some pertinent issues that is rising in agriculture, like agriculture financing, budgets for financing. We want to touch on technology now, because technology plays a crucial role in agriculture. Last year, the COP28 in Dubai, world leaders said we should embrace agriculture, we should embrace climate smart technologies. That means that we need to change our methods of farming, we need to change our approaches to farming, and in so doing, we are saying that we need to embrace more of technology. So we are going to be talking about technology right here. All right, so let's talk about technology in agriculture. We know we're in the 21st century, as you said. Unlike the olden days where we used to have the old method of farming, we use the hoes, the cutlasses. Sometimes the farmers don't even have the simple tools. They have to use their hands to pick up weeds in between crops and all that. We have grown. We are in 2024. The world is growing, and in 2050 we need to feed double the population we have now. What do you have to say about agriculture technology in 2024?
I'll speak for Ghana that yes, indeed, as I mentioned earlier, we're in the 21st century, and as such, if you go to Rome, we should do what the Romans do. As time change, we should change, or we should learn to adapt. Right now, technology is the way to go, and there are lots of things impeding agriculture success. In Ghana, there are lots of things impeding our development, and one of such things is inadequate technology in agriculture. And yes, indeed, we need to work on improving our technological advancements. As I mentioned, yes, you mentioned COP28. Climate crisis is a major issue right now. In the olden days, one way of farming was our farmers used to predict when it would rain,
Yeah.
and when to harvest, when to go, according to the tides and how the wind blows.
The wind blows.
And
We know all of
crops,
that,
in what
yeah.
direction they blow and all that. But we are in the 21st century, and as climate crisis continue to pose a major threat, we need to come up with climate smart techniques. And technology has advanced now. But in Ghana, we suffer because, one, most of our farmers do not even have training. There are no, if they would go through any training, then NGOs are the
No
ones
train
who
them.
come up with
And
initiatives, such initiatives
these trainings
to
are
train
for
them.
these trainings are to be done by extension officers. That
Exactly.
the problem now is our extension officers, the number on them, the number of farmers on them, the ratio is very high. That's an issue that we keep saying. So now, as we said,
And
the
even
NGOs
how often do they receive training?
receive
to be able to
trainings.
train?
That's a problem now.
Exactly. So I think government should do that more. We shouldn't always rely. One thing about Ghana or most African countries is that we rely on our international powers to save us or to help us. As the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 is going to go on, one of the major tenets of the Phase 2 is that they will be training women.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm hoping that there will be more collaborations to help train our farmers,
okay.
to adopt these climate smart techniques like precision farming and all that. By so doing, they will be able to, when we are able to get new technology, they will be able to operate it. If we are to bring this new technology, we have to afford, or through NGOs, we get new technology. Sometimes they are there and they are not used properly because there's no training on how to use these combine harvesters and all that. And I think industrialization is also a part of technology we should look at. In 2022, 2023 just ended and we are about 28 days in 2024. In 2022, we imported about 2 billion.
That was last 2 years. 2022.
Yes, agricultural goods. Not just agricultural goods. It means the food we eat. We imported 2 billion. So how are we growing in the country if we pride ourselves as
an agrarian community?
Exactly, where initially our agricultural sector used to even support or give us 60% of our GDP, and now 45 or 30%. And we are importing over $2 billion of food, then what are we doing?
That's what we need to look at.
And one reason why we are importing is because we do not, we do not have processing factories in the country.
Okay.
How many processing factories are government owned? I could name about 2 or 3, or just a handful. So industrialization is also a way to go. We should work on creating more or building more factories, exactly,
and that even intends to create jobs. It boosts the economy.
Yes, to process what the food we eat. For us to be food self-sufficient, we should be processing. Yes, we should be processing. So government should work on that, on building up our infrastructure in that regard, to be able to cut down, because if the agricultural market is estimated to reach $3.4 billion and we are importing 2 billion, that was 2023. 2024 we will give birth to more, population will increase, so that will increase. If we are to do the deductions, how much are we going to get in terms of revenue? Yes, so we should highly work on that, collaborate with, as we do best, we should collaborate more with foreign
investors, partnerships
to
and all that.
create processing factories. That would give us more jobs and all that. Secondly, let's go on. I'll give you more details later. I have a lot of things I think.
Sure. So
about.
So the next one I would like to talk about is digitization. Digitization. But before that, let me remind our viewers that you can also drop your comments in the comment section if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Let's hear from you. Let's get to listen to what you also have to say. All right, Nanama. So digitization in 2024. Currently, when you visit other countries, for example, Rwanda, when you go to their farms, they have weather stations on their farms. All right. With the weather stations, they train the farmers, so the farmers are able to know that, okay, we are going to expect rainfall within a couple of days and all this. And there is some forecast brought in by the meteorological service, yeah, that this is what it's going to be looking like. I doubt that our farmers in some villages are going to have those materials or those access to those information, all right, because there are real-time weather information that farmers in those places get. Now, the problem I think that we Ghanaians have, or Ghana has, is the data. We don't have data of farmers. Right, when you go to the outside, they have data of every farmer on the computer, and then they have, extension officers all scattered across those places. So it's very easy for farmers to get those information. But now we have individual farmers who are not even partnered, or who have not even partnered yet with the agriculture ministry and all that. So it's very difficult for them to get access to those information. So digitization.
Yeah. So I mentioned the climate crisis, and I particularly mentioned the traditional ways of farming to mention the meteorological, but then it's skipped me. Yes, as I mentioned, we are long past some of our traditional farming practices, and we need to embrace technology. Record keeping is our issue here in Ghana. Most farmers do not keep records. I have a friend whose dad is a very big mango farmer. Yes, in Somania, and he has a lot of acres where he exports some of his mango, and he has partnerships with these fruit juice companies, and then he gives them his mangoes. But then he lacks record keeping. He doesn't even keep his money in the bank. Every money he gets goes back into the farm and all that. He doesn't keep his money in the bank. How are you able to go for loans if you don't have these records? That's what the other countries are doing. That it's high time we emulate as Ghanaians. Yes, we need to have good record keeping. That way we are able to track things. You are able to track how much water you have to give a crop, how much fertilizer you have to give a crop,
and they have those technology,
your losses and all that. Yes. And Ghana in the news in 2023, because of this change in climate and all that, the meteorological companies
Service,
yes, actually picked up. Yes, and they promised to help them by helping with the forecast, so that farmers would be able to know
what is
how to plan. But then farming in Ghana happens in remote villages. We don't go big on, we've started, most people are now adopting precision farming, vertical farming, where they greenhouse farming and all that. But about 80% of our farms are in rural villages, and about the majority of our farmers are in the rural villages with no access to electricity, internet and all that. They do not know.
Maybe the road network is very poor.
They don't know why the June-July rains are not pouring anymore. But then, do they have access to the internet to check them? They do not know there's a certain company even called the Meteorological Agency that forecast the weather, and we don't even believe them that they predict the right. If you go like, it has been forecasted that it's going to rain today, so pick an umbrella, she may go like, these people, they say it all the time, and then it doesn't happen.
Do you know what we should be doing now? The local radio stations. The local radio stations.
Yes, now they are everywhere.
The community radio stations, let me put it that way. They have to champion that.
Exactly, and it also boils back to the unions. Government needs to strengthen the agricultural unions so that, yes, because most of the farmers, even in rural areas, belong to unions. Because through these unions, they are able to get inputs and fertilizer when government comes to share. They're able to get the subsidies and all that. So now, most farmers, even when they are in remote and rural areas, belong to agricultural unions. So I think we need to strengthen these agricultural unions, train some of their leaders. If the extension officers are not enough, how about the unions? Some of the farmers can pick up the roles and be trained, so that they can in turn train their fellow friends and acquaintances and all that. So if government strengthens the agricultural unions, digitalization will not be a problem. Since Ghana is gearing towards that section more. Record keeping is also another thing. through training, we'll be able to advise farmers to keep good records and even teach them these new technology. You know, there are apps and things that have come that would make it easier for farmers to track data and to keep data.
So let's be wrapping up.
Sure.
So your final words
Okay.
to farmers who are out there. I mean, some sort of encouragement to them.
Okay, so my final words will not only go for farmers, it would go for all of us as Ghanaians, because we need to help ourselves.
Okay.
Ghana is for all of us, it's our own, and agriculture for the longest time has been one of man's oldest professions.
Yeah.
And that's of us as Ghanaians. It's part of our culture, it's part of our heritage. So in as much as we expect government to do a lot of things, we as individuals can also do same. The population is set to increase in 2050. Africa's population will be reaching about 2.4 or more by 2050.
Billion.
So I would urge all of us to incorporate growing our own crops. This will eat what you grow. Our agenda is all a good one. We shouldn't just rely on our farmers. If you need fresh produce and all that, you can go in your backyard and all that. I would also urge government to partner more with foreign investors. And one reason I mentioned that my advice goes to all Ghanaians is that the foreign acquired taste is too much. The reason why our imports are going up is because we've acquired this taste for foreign goods.
Let's eat the local rice more.
Exactly, where 66% of the rice we consume are imported, and that is not good. It's not even healthy and all that. We have